I didn't scream when I opened my bedroom door and found my husband of 24 years in bed with my best friend. I didn't cry. I didn't collapse. I just stood there, frozen, my hand still on the doorknob, while my 21-year-old son Marcus stood beside me, his entire body trembling with a rage I'd never seen before. What happened in the next 72 hours would destroy my husband's life completely. Not through violence, not through lawyers, but through something far more devastating. My son, a cybersecurity specialist who worked for one of Atlanta's top tech firms, would use his genius to expose every lie, every secret, every stolen dollar that Gregory Pierce had hidden for over a decade. And by the time Marcus was done, my husband would lose everything: his reputation, his career, his freedom, and the carefully constructed facade he'd spent 24 years building. My name is Denise Pierce. I'm 47 years old, and this is the story of how my son became my protector when a man I trusted most became my betrayer. It started with a text message I wasn't supposed to see. Thursday afternoon, 3:47 p.m. I was folding laundry in our Buckhead home when Gregory's phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. He was in the shower, singing off-key like he always did, completely carefree. The screen lit up with a message from Rick, golf buddy. "Can't wait for Saturday. Tell Denise you have that conference. I'll bring the wine you like, asterisk." But my husband didn't have a golf buddy named Rick, and he hadn't mentioned any conference. My hands moved before my brain could stop them. I opened his phone. The passcode was our anniversary, 0614, which now felt like a cruel joke, and found the truth buried in an app one didn't recognize. An entire hidden messaging system. And the messages weren't with Rick at all. They were with Vanessa Montgomery, my best friend of 15 years. The woman who'd held my hand through my mother's funeral, who'd helped plan Marcus's high school graduation party, who came to our house for dinner every Sunday. Saturday, your house. Denise will be at her pottery class until 2. We'll have hours, asterisk. The pottery class. The hobby Gregory had encouraged me to take up 6 months ago. "You need something for yourself, babe," he'd said with such convincing concern. "You're always taking care of everyone else." He'd even paid for the classes in advance. A full year's worth. I sat down on the kitchen floor, phone shaking in my hands, reading message after message. They went back 18 months. 18 months of "I love yous" and explicit photos and detailed plans to meet while I was conveniently occupied. My husband had systematically created windows of opportunity for his affair by filling my schedule with activities he pretended to support. The shower stopped. I had maybe 3 minutes before Gregory came downstairs. I forwarded every message to my own phone, then deleted the evidence of my snooping. When he walked into the kitchen, hair wet, that easy smile on his face, I was back to folding laundry. "Hey babe, what's for dinner?" "I thought I'd make your favorite," I said, surprised by how normal my voice sounded. "Chicken parmesan." "Perfect. You're the best." He kissed my forehead, and I felt nothing. The man I'd loved for 24 years had become a stranger in the 3 minutes it took him to shower. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Because I knew my son was coming home that weekend. Marcus, who'd graduated from Georgia Tech last year with a degree in cybersecurity and digital forensics, who now worked for a firm that protected corporations from hackers and data breaches. Marcus, who'd inherited his father's intelligence, but, thank God, not his morality. Saturday morning arrived. I told Gregory the first was leaving for pottery class at 11 a.m. as usual. I drove to the studio, parked, then called Marcus. "Mom, everything okay? Can you come home right now? Don't call your father. Just come." 25 minutes later, Marcus pulled into our driveway in his Audi. He found me sitting in my car, staring at the house where my marriage was ending. "Mom, you're scaring me. What's wrong?" I handed him my phone with the messages open. I watched my son's face transform as he read. His jaw clenched. His eyes went cold. When he looked up at me, he wasn't my boy anymore. He was someone I barely recognized. "How long?" His voice was lethal. 18 months. With Vanessa. Vanessa? Auntie V. We'd called her that since Marcus was 6 years old. She was family. That woman has been in our house every week. She's hugged me, asked about my life, pretended to. He stopped breathing hard. "Where is he now?" "Inside. With her." They think I'm at pottery class for 3 more hours. Marcus reached for the door handle. Let's go. Marcus, wait. No, Mom. We're doing this now. We walked through a front door together. The house was silent except for sounds coming from upstairs. From my bedroom, Marcus took the stairs 2 at a time, and I followed, my heart hammering. He didn't knock. He just opened the door. Gregory scrambled off the bed, sheet clutched around him. Vanessa screamed, grabbing her clothes. My husband's face went from shock to fear when he saw Marcus's expression. Get dressed, Marcus said quietly. Both of you. You have 5 minutes. Then we're going to have a conversation. Son, this isn't. We can explain. 5 minutes. Marcus's voice cracked like a whip. And Dad, don't even think about leaving. I've already locked down the security system. Every door, every window. The only way out is through this conversation. It was true. Our whole house was smart home integrated, controllable from Marcus's phone. He'd set it up himself last year as a Christmas gift. Now it was a cage. 5 minutes later, we sat in the living room. Gregory on one couch, Vanessa in the armchair, both looking anywhere but at me. Marcus stood behind me, his hand on my shoulder. Here's what's going to happen, Marcus said, his voice eerily calm. You're both going to sit there and be honest for the first time in 18 months. And I'm going to record every word because this conversation is going to become evidence. Evidence for what? Gregory tried to sound authoritative, but his voice shook. For the divorce proceedings. For the fraud investigation. For all of it, Dad. Fraud? What are you talking about? Marcus pulled out his laptop. I spent last night doing what I do professionally. I investigated you, and what I found was fascinating. He turned the screen around. This is your financial records. Joint accounts with Mom? Yes. But also 3 accounts she doesn't know about. Offshore holdings. A credit card registered to an LLC that doesn't actually exist. Want to guess where that money came from? Gregory's face went white. You've been skimming from your company for 6 years, Marcus continued. Small amounts, very clever, buried in expense reports and contractor payments that were never quite real. Total? $340,000 that you've hidden from everyone. The company, the IRS, and definitely Mom. That's not. I can explain. No, you really can't. Because I have documentation of every transaction. See, Dad, you taught me to be thorough. You just never imagined I'd use those skills on you. Vanessa started crying. Greg, you said you were going to leave her. You said we'd be together once the timing was right. I laughed. I couldn't help it. The sound was bitter and broken. The timing was never going to be right, Vanessa. You were just convenient. How many others were there? Gregory? He couldn't look at me. Answer my mother. Marcus's voice was steel. 3, Gregory whispered. Over the years. 3 affairs. The number hit me like a physical blow. Not just Vanessa. 3 women. Who knew how many years of lies. Here's what happens next, Marcus said, closing his laptop. Vanessa, you're going to leave this house and never contact anyone in this family again. If you do, these recordings go to your husband, your employer, and everyone in your social circle. Understand? Vanessa nodded, sobbing, gathering her things. She looked at me once. Denise, get out. My voice didn't sound like mine. After she left, Marcus turned to his father. Now you have 24 hours to do the following. First, transfer every penny from those hidden accounts into Mom's name. Second, sign whatever divorce papers her lawyer provides. Third, provide a full written confession about the embezzlement. And if I don't, then I send everything to your company's fraud department, the IRS, the SEC, and every media outlet in Atlanta. Gregory Pierce, CFO of Reynolds Financial Group, arrested for embezzlement. Your career ends. You probably go to prison. Your choice. You do that to your own father? You stopped being my father when you disrespected my mother. Marcus's voice cracked slightly. I worshipped you growing up. You were my hero. And you threw it all away for what? For ego? For excitement? Was it worth it? Gregory had no answer. Over the next 48 hours, Marcus orchestrated everything with surgical precision. He contacted the 3 best divorce attorneys in Atlanta until Mom chose one, Sylvia Chun, known for destroying wealthy husbands in court. He compiled every financial record into a comprehensive package that proved not just the affairs but the systematic financial fraud. He even found the jewelry receipts, gifts Gregory had bought for his mistresses using money stolen from his company and hidden from the IRS. The divorce papers were filed on Monday. By Wednesday, Reynolds' financial group had been anonymously tipped off about the missing $340,000. By Friday, Gregory was suspended pending investigation. By the following Tuesday, he was arrested at his office, let out in handcuffs while his colleagues watched. The local news covered it. Prominent CFO charged with embezzlement and tax fraud. Marcus had made sure every detail was documented, irrefutable, public. I didn't feel victorious watching my husband's arrest on the evening news. I felt empty. 24 years of marriage reduced to a news crawl at the bottom of the screen. But Marcus sat beside me, holding my hand, and I realized something. My son had done what I couldn't. He protected me. He demanded justice. He'd used his intelligence and his skills not for revenge, but for truth. "Mom," he said quietly as we watched Gregory being arraigned, "I need you to know something. What I did wasn't just about punishing him. It was about making sure you get everything you're legally owed. The hidden money, the pension, the house. He tried to steal your future. I'm just making sure you get it back." The divorce was finalized 4 months later. I got the house, 60% of remaining assets, and full restitution from the recovered hidden accounts. Gregory pleaded guilty to embezzlement and tax fraud, receiving 3 years in prison and 5 years probation. His career was over. His reputation destroyed. Vanessa's husband divorced her within weeks of finding out. She moved to another state. I never saw her again. Today, I live in that same Buckhead house, but I've redecorated every room, erased every trace of Gregory. Marcus comes for dinner every Sunday. We kept that tradition, just without the toxic people. He's thriving in his career, recently promoted to senior analyst. Sometimes he asks if I'm angry that he acted so decisively, that he took control of the situation instead of letting me handle it my way. I tell him the truth. I'm grateful. Because in that moment when I found my husband in bed with my best friend, I was broken. I was lost. I didn't have the strength to fight back. But my son did, and he fought not with violence, not with cruelty, but with intelligence and unwavering principle. He showed me that justice doesn't always come from the legal system. Sometimes it comes from a 21-year-old son who loves his mother enough to dismantle his father's lies piece by piece. Gregory writes to me, sometimes from prison, letters asking for forgiveness, claiming he's changed. I don't read them. Marcus handles all communication with his father now, brief, formal, nothing more than logistics. Because here's what I learned. Betrayal doesn't just break trust. It reveals character. And in the moment of crisis, everyone's true nature emerges. Gregory's was weakness and selfishness. Mine was paralysis and heartbreak. But Marcus? My son's character was fierce protection, brilliant strategy, and love expressed through justice. He didn't just punish his father for the affair. He punished him for every lie, every stolen dollar, every moment of disrespect. And he did it in a way that ensured I would never be vulnerable again. That's not revenge. That's righteousness. And I will spend the rest of my life being grateful that when I needed a protector, I'd raised one myself.